10 years ago, I had a number in my head. I thought if I ever hit $100,000, I'd officially be rich. I'd be the guy who won the game. Not long ago, I finally crossed that line. And you know what the most sobering realization was? In 2026, $100,000 is kind of nothing. In San Francisco or New York, that's not even a full down payment on a one-bedroom apartment. In a car dealership, advise you a high-end truck that loses 20% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. If you try to live off the interest alone, you'd be eating ramen in a basement. I felt that wave of disappointment. I realized that $100K today is just a stack of paper that doesn't make you a millionaire in the classic sense. But then, I looked back at the last 5 years and realized something even bigger. Every radical change in my life started the exact day I hit that useless 100 grand. Today, I'm giving you 7 reasons why this specific amount is the most important financial goal of your life. We aren't talking about saving $5 on coffee. We're going short and clear on why 100K is the threshold where your life actually begins. Stick around for the end, because the 8th bonus reason will explain why your friends might change as your bank account grows. Like, subscribe, stay chill. Let's go. The first reason is the most sobering. You are officially your own pension fund. Let's be brutally honest. The Social Security system as our parents knew it is a ghost story. The demographic pyramid is flipping. There are fewer young people working and more retirees living longer. The solidarity system where the young feed the old is cracking. Rules change mid-game. Retirement ages go up, benefits get taxed. Relying on a system you don't control is a massive strategic error. Now look at the math. A $100,000 portfolio, even in a conservative index fund or high-yield account, can generate roughly $700 to $900 a month in dividends or interest. Think about that. The average Social Security check in the US is around $1,900. By hitting your first 100K, you've already self-funded nearly 50% of a government-level retirement, but you did it decades early and on your own terms. Plus, unlike the government, you still have the 100K itself if you ever need to pivot. Reason number 2, the capital bonus. In the corporate world, a year-end bonus, what some call the 13th salary, is a lottery. Maybe the company had a bad quarter. Maybe your boss is having a midlife crisis and decides nobody gets a payout. When you have 100K invested at a 10% average annual return, your money earns $10,000 a year for doing absolutely nothing. If you earn a median salary of 50 to 60K, that capital gain is a permanent 15 to 20% raise. It's a bonus that doesn't depend on a performance review or corporate politics. It's the first time you realize that your money is a more reliable employee than you are. Here's the real tragedy of most people's lives. They see a life-changing opportunity, but they can't afford to take it. There's a formula. Success equals opportunity plus readiness. The idea that opportunities only come to the chosen few is total BS. Most people get 3 to 5 chances in their life to radically change their financial situation. A new business venture, a chance to move to a tech hub, or a massive market dip. But these opportunities have a very short shelf life. They won't wait 6 months while you save up for a move or build a cushion. If you have $0 on your balance sheet, your readiness is 0. You watch the chance fly by. 100K covers your readiness in that formula. It gives you the right to try and the right to fail. It means you can quit a job you hate to start a business, and even if that business fails, you aren't homeless. You have the luxury of a plan B. Reason 4 is the most practical. Safety. 90% of what we call life tragedies are just unplanned expenses. Your transmission dies. You need an emergency root canal. Your basement floods. For a person with no savings, these are soul-crushing dramas. They lead to high-interest credit card debt, stress that ruins marriages, and physical illness. When you have 100K, the nature of these events changes. A $3,000 car repair isn't a catastrophe, it's just a line item in your budget. You don't lose sleep, you don't panic, you just solve the problem with a check and move on. You realize that almost any domestic or medical emergency that doesn't involve long-term hospitalization fits under that 100K umbrella. This point is personal. I'm convinced that financial stress is the most toxic long-term stress a human can endure. It comes in two flavors: the stress of not being able to afford basic needs, the stress of owing money you can't pay back. There's a brilliant researcher named Eldar Shafir. He talks about scarcity mindset. When you are desperately low on resources, your brain enters tunnel vision. Your cognitive capacity drops. Studies show that being under intense financial stress can lower your effective IQ by 13 to 14 points. You are literally dumber when you're broke. You make impulsive, short-term decisions because you're just trying to survive until Friday. 100K in the bank is like an IQ buff. It clears the fog. You stop making panic-driven mistakes. You gain the most valuable asset in a capitalist world: a clear head. Reason 6. The end of the era of showing off. Who buys the $1,200 iPhone on a 24-month payment plan? Usually people who are financially insecure. It's an attempt to buy social respect when you don't have personal confidence. When your balance is zero, you feel naked, so you cover yourself in logos and status symbols so the world won't guess how vulnerable you are. The first 100K flips a switch. When you know you could walk into the Apple Store and buy 50 iPhones in cash, you suddenly don't feel the need to buy even one. You start wearing $15 basic tees because your confidence comes from your brokerage account, not your shirt tag. You start valuing function over status. You move out of the rat race of prestige and start playing your own game. Finally, 100K is your exit from the investment sandbox. Investing small amounts is boring. If you save $100 a month and see a 5% return, you made $5. It feels like a waste of time. Most people quit here because the fun doesn't outweigh the effort. But at 100K, you graduate. You get access to adult toys in the financial world. You can look into real estate investment trusts, REITs, private equity, or specialized business ventures. While 100K isn't enough for a penthouse, it's enough for a down payment on a rental property or a small business franchise. This is where saving turns into strategy. The game becomes addictive because the numbers actually start to move the needle on your lifestyle. And for those who stayed, the 8th bonus reason: the filter. As your capital grows, your social circle shifts organically. You stop hanging out with people who complain about the system and start meeting people who are figuring out how to navigate it. You find the chill capybaras of the world. 100K isn't the finish line, it's the starting block. It's the price of admission to a life where you aren't a victim of your circumstances, but the architect of them. Earn more, spend less, and most importantly, stay chill. See you in the next one.